Hi there, this is Vaibhav Goyal, and this is a presentation video for my machine learning course project. And my topic is instance segmentation in fruit recognition in colored images using convolution neural networks. So my aim basically is to get a large image containing multiple fruits and segment those into the different smaller images containing one fruit per image, and then predict them using a trained model that I'm going to show you further in this presentation. And so let us begin. So my project description, like I told you that my topic is fruit recognition. So my project is divided into three parts. So part one is fruit recognition using convolution neural networks on Kaggle's Fruit 360 dataset. I'll explain later about the dataset, what it contains, and how I did this part. Again, second part is instance segmentation. For any given image, we want to segment those into different smaller images containing different fruits, so that we can use those segments of the larger image and use the trained model from part 1 to predict those fruits in that larger image. And this forms the part 3. And let's move forward. So my data set has 55,244 images, and out of those, around 41,000 images are in the training set, and the test set has 13,877 images. And there are some multi-fruit set that multi-fruit set size that contains images with having multiple fruits, but those are of like real life photos of multiple fruits. But then those are not with a constant background. There is a lot of background, a lot of different kinds of backgrounds in that in those, so I've not used this. And the number of classes is 81, so I have 81 fruits, and around 500 images for each fruit is present in my training set. And then the image size of each of the images 100 by 100 pixels. And I'll be using this dataset to train a convolution neural network that I'll explain later. And then I'll use that model to predict fruits in any random image. So this is the part 1, and this is the CNN used. This is the actual code from the code which I'm going to submit. And the CNN I've used is around 11 layers, and it has the first layer is the convolution layer. So in this, the like I have three input channels, and 16 is the output, and 5 by 5 kernel is it is convolving by using a 5 by 5 kernel. And then we have applied the max pooling. After that, there is another convolution which takes input of 16, and then 30 it generates like 32 layers. 32 the depth of the second convolution is 32, and same 5 by 5 kernels. That and then again we do max pooling. The max pooling is same as the previous one. And then similarly, convolution 3 and convolution 4 we apply. I've also implemented a function called as number of flat features that returns the flat features given a particular max pool layer after the max pool layer in the convolution 4. So whatever it returns, then it basically gives me a number that tells me that okay, after the fourth convolution, so after four convolution, four max pool layers have been calculated. So I have to give this many number of uh, input parameters to my linear or fully connected layer. So that comes out to be 500, and that comes out to be 512. And once I ran the code, and then I populated the first fully connected layer as 2 cross 2 cross 128, and the output of the fully connected layer, the first one is 1024. And after that, similarly, we have two more fully connected layers. And this is my CNN that I'm using. Again, using this CNN, I used a batch size of 64 and 128 for training and testing data. And then I ran the model for 40 or so epochs over all the training images. And in each epoch, I calculated the loss and calculated the training set accuracy and test set accuracy, as we've done in one of our previous homeworks. And then these are the graphs that I'm getting. If you can see that the training accuracy is almost 100% after 20th epoch, and the testing accuracy is somewhat around 97.19%. And we can see that we have a lot of ups and downs between the ranges of 0 and 15. So this is due to the fact that I have kept my learning rate for 0 to 15 epochs is 0.01, and after that I've reduced my learning rate to 0.001, so it stabilized. I made these changes because I ran the model previously, and I got some like I got more ridges and valleys. So to normalize those and to further increase the accuracy of my model, I reduced the learning rate once 15 epochs have passed. The loss curve is also pretty consistent with the standard L curve loss. So let's move forward. So for part 2, I was not able to get a data set that contains multiple images with a constant background so that I can segment those. My original idea was to use mask RCNN kind of neural network to segment the images containing fruits, but I searched a lot online, and that the mask RCNN was trained on for example, a cityscapes dataset that has like real life city locations, and the outputs or the output labels that were present in that dataset were segmented or masked regions of the roads and buildings and trees and so on. But I was not able to find out a similar dataset for fruits. So what I decided is to scrape that idea for using mask RCNN. Instead, I'm using something else that I'll explain later. And this is the input to my input for the second part of my project. So what I did was I grabbed some random images from the testing set in the Fruits 360 dataset, and I created a grid of 7 by 7 fruits in that image, and it's a 800 by 800 pixel image, so that I'll use this image to segment it and extract each of the fruits and then predict those fruits according to the model learned in part 1. So let's move forward. So these are the this is the same image, and this is the large image with multiple fruit labels. So this is a 7 by 7 grid on the bottom that we can see, and like for example, if you see the top left corner, it says apple golden 3, and the top left corner in the fruit image is indeed an apple, and then next to that is a lemon. So we can these are the mappings of the whatever image that I have generated on at random. These are the labels for that. We'll use this as a reference to check whether whether my model is predicting these segmented images correctly or not. So now we shall move to segmentation. So for segmentation, I've used OpenCV, and it has a draw contour and find contour functions. So I use those to segment the images. These are the segmented images that I'm getting from a large image. This is the same image as the previous one. I'll show it to you, this one. And then these are the segmented images that we get. We can see that each of the fruit is segmented properly, and we get some like by the bounding boxes we get images from the large image. And let's move forward. This is the prediction. So this is the prediction, and this is the part 3 of my project. So what I have done till now is created the segments from a large image and processed that each of the smaller images to feed into my network, and these are the results that I get. If we see closely, all the fruits that I supplied to my network, they are correctly being classified. For example, the top left is a papaya, and indeed the label above says papaya. And if we move to the next fruit, that is a tomato, and indeed the label is tomato 3. It's a different kind of tomato. We have 3 kinds of tomato in my dataset. So if we look closely, all the fruits are correctly being predicted. And yeah, that's it in part 3. Now we shall move to the code walkthrough. Just quickly go over my code and explain what all I have done. So this is while reading the training dataset from my fruits 360 folder. So these are the transformations that I have applied. Initially I did not apply any transformations, so I got some accuracy of 92%. But after applying the transformations, I got accuracy of 97%. Also, I have 4 transformations that are required to increase their accuracy. That is random resized crop. So it will crop the any input images, or at random it will select some images and crop them in 1:85 ratio, and then scale it back to 100 by 100 by using bilinear transformation. And then this is a random horizontal flip, so it will flip the images horizontally. And this is a random vertical flip similarly, and this is a random rotation for 10 degrees. And then this is the training dataset and the testing dataset I have loaded. This is just to visualize that I have got everything correct or not. This is not a part of training per se. This is the image of yeah, and also one more thing, the batch size is 64 and 128 for training and test set respectively. This is the model that I've showed earlier in the presentation also. And these are the I'm doing everything on CUDA. So I have CUDA enabled, and I've done all my training and testing on CUDA using CUDA. Also the learning rate is kept at 0.01 for 15 epochs, and after that I've reduced it to 0.001. And the loss I'm using is cross entropy loss. These are I'm using float progress bars to track the progress of each of the for loops. If you look closely, we have 3 for loops in each of the epochs. So in this case epoch is 1 because I was just testing my code. I'll change it back to 40. So I trained the model for 40 epochs, and it has 3 for loops basically. So this particular for loop is for the training, this particular for loop is for training the model. And then we have one for loop for testing the model. So it iterates through all the test images and gives me an accuracy. I'm doing this for each and every epoch because I want to generate that graph that I showed in the presentation. And this is similarly that we iterate through all the training images and then calculate the accuracy of the model. This happens in each epoch. We get some sort of these kind of bars, so that I know the status of which for loop is being executed. And the bottom 2 bars are running loss and overall accuracy. So if we run this model for 40 epochs using the train loader and test loader that I showed earlier, using 64 batch size and 0.01 learning rate, the overall accuracy will increase and it will go up till 97, and the running loss will decrease and it will be like close to very close to 0. Also one more thing, this is if epochs are greater than 14, it starts from 0, and if they are greater than 14, then I am changing the learning rate. So this also I believe helped in increasing the accuracy at the end of 40 epochs. This is the code for just to generate the plots. Again, because training takes a lot of time, so this is This particular cell helps me saving the model that I have already trained, that I can use it further without wasting any time. So to read this model again, we create the same neural network basically, and then read that saved model, and then we can use that. So again, the test set accuracy, as I mentioned in the report also, it is 97.16, and it is an increase of 0.97% as compared to the original idea that I've mentioned in the report. Also, this class-wise accuracy we are calculating, and we can see that most of the fruits are correctly being predicted. Some fruits are there which have an accuracy of like less than 50% or something, but for most of the fruits we have almost 100% prediction. I'll just iterate it through once. Again, part 2 is image segmentation. We've segmented the image and created a large image called my plot. Everything is explained in the report. And then these are the images, these are the labels that I got from the first run. Like this generates the image at random from test images, and I'm getting 49 images from the test set. So I just saved these and created a visualization to put it in the report and the presentation. So these are the same labels, and we take that path, we take that image, a large image, and it generates a large image of 800 by 800 pixels, and then we feed it into this particular cell or this particular code. This gives me the contours, and it gives me all the bounding boxes. I extract those into the extract folder, and then I move forward. After that, I iterate through the extract folder, and then I pad those with white pixels so that I can feed those into the network. If you notice that we have very few images are 100 by 100 exactly. Most of them are close to 100 by 100, but not exactly 1:1 aspect ratio, but that's fine. While reading these images, we will apply a transform so that I can take the center crop of 100 by 100 pixels, and then I'll be generating a final image that I've showed you earlier, and that final image corresponds our results, and those indeed look good. So let me tell you one more thing. Let's go here, and these are the this is my accuracy curves. This is the loss curve. This looks good. Everything is mentioned in the report and the presentation as well, and these are my final predictions that I've got. So we can pause the video at this point of moment, and we can see the all the fruits are correctly being predicted, and that's it. That's my project. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot for your time.